Allahu, 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 Allah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Quran Halaqa with Abdurrahman and Abdullah. Today, inshallah, I will be doing a dua on grief and anxiety. And inshallah, Abdurrahman will be doing Surah Qadr today, inshallah. So, inshallah, I want, when people are sad, this is a good dua to recite. And this dua is Allahumma inni a'udhu bika minal hammi wal huzun wal ajzi wal kasal wal bukhli wal jubn wa dal'i daini wa ghalbati rujul. O Allah, I seek refuge in you from grief and sadness, from weakness and laziness, from miserliness and from cowardice, and from being overcome by debt and overpowered by men, meaning others. This hadith can be found in Sahih al-Bukhari. So when people say Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-ham, ham is a kind of sadness that it takes over the person. Like that's the only thing I can think of. Like when Yaqub alayhi salam, he lost his son Yusuf alayhi salam, he said وَتَوَلَّى عَنْهُمْ وَقَالَ يَا أَسَفَا عَلَى يُوسُف وَبِيَضَّتْ عَيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْحُزْنِ. Yaqub alayhi salam, he turned away and he started crying so much, and he said, "Oh, my grief over Yusuf alayhi salam." So that is ham. And huzn is a state of which some people they start going crazy. So they start getting mad at themselves. Like, for example, let's say there's a bank robbery, right? And then you help the criminals get inside, right? So then you're like at the end when they're all gone, you're like, I did something so wrong. So he keeps on getting mad that he did it himself, and that's the only thing they could think of again. So he just thought of himself. He's like, I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have done it. So the next word, al-ajaz, is like when you feel like a failure, like when you've lost faith in your own abilities, right? So for example, you're a mechanic, right? And then someone comes like, can you fix this for me? You're like, okay, sure. And then you keep on trying, you spend hours and hours, and still after like a whole day, you still couldn't fix it. And then you just lose all abilities. So we say, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-ham. Oh Allah, I seek refuge from grief, min al-hammi wal huzun, and sadness, wal ajaz, and weakness, and wal kasal, and from laziness. Laziness is a very bad habit. So when you see beggars in the street and they keep on like, please give me money, please give me money. It's always good to give money, but the problem is they're very lazy. They don't want to get a job, so they just slack off. They live on the streets and they don't try to find a job or try to do anything. So this is what they call lazy. So lazy is like when you're like feeling demotivated. So he's like, even if I try to go get a job, it's not gonna work. But they haven't even tried yet. So they're still very lazy. They don't want to even try. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we make a dua that we say, oh Allah, protect us from laziness. And the next word after al-kasal is al-bukhl, is when someone has enough money but they hoard it. So for example, when me and Abdurrahman were doing Surah Ma'un, if anybody was present here, we were doing about hoarding. And we were talking about أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمَ وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَاعُونَ. So this whole surah is talking about those kafir. They're very stingy. They don't want to give money. So like let's say this. You have like let's say for example you're a billionaire. Everybody's like, he's a billionaire, wow, right? And then you keep on getting and you keep on getting and you keep on getting, and then you're like, you see one day there's a beggar on the street and he's like, please give me something, right? I'm hungry, right? I haven't eaten in days. Most people, like when they have that much money, they just start hoarding it and they just become arrogant. They're like, I shouldn't give it to you. What have you done? They start making themselves look arrogant. So they're very stingy when asked to be given. So the next word after bukhl is jubn, It's meaning like when you're so scared that you like shrink within yourself. Like for example, one let's say for example, there was a kid who was walking back to home, right, from school, and there's a mob, right? And then like they have all these like big fists and they're like about to get ready to punch the boy, right? So he got so scared that he's shaking inside himself, right? So, and that is al-jubn, like when you get so scared that you shrink within yourself, right? And then the next word is dala'at day, and that is when someone is feeling weight and they keep on coming consistently. So like a burden on top of them. So like when you let's say for example you have to do like some kind of loan or something like that, right? And then you have to pay like let's say $100,000 off, right? And you keep on working, and by 2 months you only got 20K, right? And you only pay 20K. You still have 80K left to go, and you keep on trying and keep on trying, but it doesn't keep like a it's like a burden upon them they're carrying with. And ghalaba is the next word is ghalaba. Is when someone is subdued and overpowered by something. So like I was talking about that mob and that child, this is sort of like it. So ghalaba is almost like this. So when we make this dua, we should ponder on each of these meanings. So like when we say Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-ham, oh Allah protect me from al-ham is sadness or grief. Wal-hammi wal-huzun and sadness. Wal-hammi wal-huzun wal-ajiz and from weakness, and wal-kasal from laziness. Wal-bukhl and from miserliness, and وَضَلَعَةِ الدَّيْنِ and from anything that comes on top of me, any burden, and وَغَلَبَةِ الرِّجَالِ and when people they start attacking me. So we should do this when it's times of grief and we need lots of help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will listen to it because He is indahu huwa as-sami'u al-basir. He is the one who always listens and sees everything. So the dua one more time is Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-ham wal-huzuni wal-ajzi wal-kasal wal-bukhli wal-jubn wa dhal'i ad-dayn wa ghalbati rijal. Okay, so that's inshallah for my dua, and Abdurrahman, you can begin Surah Qadr inshallah today.
Jazakallah khairan, Abdullah, for this dua on anxiety and sadness. We should always try to remember these duas anytime we can when we are feeling stressed out. So this is a very good reminder, and Jazakallah Abdullah for this dua. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربنا زدنا علما ربنا زدنا علما ربنا زدنا علما. So today, inshallah, we have started a brand new week in October. So I want this surah today that we're going to be talking about is Surah Al-Qadr, which has one of the most important nights in all of the Islamic days, in all the Islamic months. This day is Laylatul Qadr. So, inshallah, I will be reciting the surah with the translation, and then Abdullah will, and then I will further elaborate on this. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Surely we have sent it down on the night of honor. And what makes you know what is the night of honor? The night of honor is better than 1,000 months. The angels and the spirit descend therein by their Lord's leave for every affair. Peace. It is till the rising of the dawn. Now I will ask Abdullah to recite the surah, inshallah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. عبد الرحمن.
Jazakallah Abdullah for the wonderful recitation. So now moving on to the main translation of the surah. Before I start, I want to talk about the previous surahs before and after it. So I want to talk about the last ayah of Surah Alaq. So Al-Alaq started with Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, right? So this means he taught man what he knew not. And then Surah Qadr says, what will make you know what it is? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in both surahs talk about knowledge or a piece of point that we have never known other than because of Allah. So meaning that we would never knew or know what the night of Qadr is only because you found out because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us. The last ayah of Surah Alaq is wasjud waqtarib. Prostrate and draw near to Allah. Go towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the last ayah of Surah Alaq. Surah Qadr. The best time to get close to Allah in the whole year, and I'm pretty sure all Muslims know this, is during Ramadan. If not, with a further emphasis, in the last 10 nights of Ramadan. With even more further emphasis, the night of Laylatul Qadr. No one knows it, so it's going to be the odd days. So these odd days, you should do wasjud waqtarib. Look at the connection between these two surahs. So Al-Alaq starts with Iqra, recite the Quran. And then Surah Qadr mentions that the Quran should be recited. Okay, now I'm going to go into Surah Qadr. When is the night of Qadr? Everyone knows that it's going to be it's going to be the last 10 days of Ramadan or the 5 odd nights. The last 5 odd nights, which is the 21st, 23rd, 25th, 27th, and 29th. I want to mention a point here. There are only 5 ayats in the surah. 5 ayats. And there are 5 odd nights in the last 10 days of Ramadan. So I just wanted to show you that connection between the odd nights and the number of ayahs in Surah Qadr. So Ibn Abbas, He also had an opinion, first stating that it was the 23rd. Then later he said it's the 27th. And many of the scholars mentioned that it is the 27th. It is very interesting, and I want to share this story with you on how Ibn Abbas explained his view to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Umar ibn al-Khattab. So he said, Laylatul Qadr has 9 letters. Lam, Ya, Lam, Ta marbuta, Alif, Lam, Qaf, Dal, and Ra. 9 letters. And how many times is Laylatul Qadr mentioned in this surah? 3. 9 times 3 is 27. Can you believe it? The Laylatul Qadr has 9 letters, and then Laylatul Qadr itself in the surah is mentioned 3 times. And the answer to that 9 times 3 is 27. This is how he had the opinion that it was the 27th day of Ramadan. But this is one thing that I don't want to disappoint you on, but this method is not a proper proof. But it is very interesting on how he formed this opinion. There are many scholars who've been trying their best to give the right day, to give the right night when this night is. Because for many centuries, all of the scholars of Islam have been trying to differentiate between the nights of Laylatul Qadr. Ibn Abbas also came up with this like this. In this surah, there are 30 words, just like 30 days in a month and Ramadan. But the 27th word, believe it or not, is hiya. Hiya means it. Can you believe it? And that's the 27th word. Okay, so then he says hiya implies that this word is the 27th out of 30, and which is also the same as the 27th night out of the 30 nights. But safest position is that everyone has to keep praying on the 5 odd nights, and we don't know which one it is. And scholars have even said it is not one night. They said sometimes it might be the 23rd, next year it will be the 29th, and because you have to keep catching it. Imagine it like this. You heard that there is going to be gold in Texas or in your backyard. You're going to search every corner of your backyard, right? So just like Laylatul Qadr, there are five nights. Are you only going to choose one and give your best estimate? No. You have to do all 5 of these nights so you can guarantee. So if you're only going to check one corner of your backyard, is it guaranteed that you're going to find it? No. So you have to check your entire backyard if it does have it. Just like the 5 odd nights, pray all of them, and then you'll have a greater chance of gaining this day, gaining this night. So one that we should do is that we should pray in these 5 odd nights. There's one thing that I wanted to remind, because when we start Ramadan, we are always so pumped and energetic. And then for the first 2 weeks or something like that, you will start being very active, praying 8 rak'ah or finishing the whole tarawih, fasting every day. But then after the 3rd week and 4th week and the last 10 days, you get exhausted. This happens to some people, but some people continue on. So just a tip, don't use most of your energy in the first 20 days. Try pushing your most effort towards the last 10 nights, because this is guaranteed that it will be Laylatul Qadr. And another thing that I want to mention is that you can pray all 20 of the first 20 days. And even if it means for you to sleep during the day, just to pray on the Laylatul Qadr night, that would be even preferred. Just pray your salahs that are fard, right? You cannot miss your fard salah. So there is a dua that in Surah Taha, verse number 14. إنني أنا الله لا إله إلا إنني أنا الله لا إله إلا أنا فاعبدني وأقم الصلاة لذكري. Indeed, I am Allah. There is no God except me. So worship me and establish prayer for His remembrance. So this is something that I just wanted to talk about. The first ayah. Inna anzalnahu fi laylatul qadr. Indeed, we have sent it down in the night of decree, in the night of power, in the night of decree. So I just don't want you guys to get confused. Al-Qadr means decree. But Laylatul Qadr is the night of decree. That's why we say Laylatul Qadr. Do we just say Qadr? No, we have to say the whole name, the night of decree. And it says, we have sent it down. What is it? There is no doubt that we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent the Quran down. So I want to start with the first word. It says inna. Inna means we. Why we? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions 4 types of pronouns in the Quran when He is referring to Himself or someone else. Ana, nahnu, anta, huwa. I, we, you, he. Only one of these is a plural, which is nahnu. The rest are singular. So if someone argued with you and saying that you Muslims have lots of gods, see, look, right here in this ayah it says inna, we. So they're mistaken because all the other pronouns are singular when referring to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly, nahnu is used to show His power and strength. Here's an example. Would a king say, I have forgiven you? Or we are letting you go? We have decided, right? They would say we, because He's trying to show His power to that person. He's trying to show His royalty. He's trying to show His strength, that He has more men than you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing His power and strength. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses this, that means He's trying to address something very important to us. And there are 2 times when ana is used. It is either mentioned when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is extremely angry, or inna. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses this when He is extremely angry or extremely merciful. Okay, so we have no doubt that we have sent it down in the night of decree. So there are many opinions on when or what was sent down. So some scholars said that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote it down, He sent it all the way to the lowest heaven, the first 7. Then there was another decree that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the whole thing down onto the planet Earth. Then there's another thing that said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a portion of it to the Prophet ﷺ on this night. But we already know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had to do something with the Quran on this night. So Ramadan and Laylatul Qadr have everything to do with Al-Quran. So Quran is very important in the month of Ramadan. So we should read it and emphasize it during Ramadan. I'm going to quickly wrap it up. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ. And what makes you know what it is? In some of the surahs, it said, what will give you the slightest hint, or what will give you a clue of what it is? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing us the whole thing. What will make you know what it is? What will make you know what is the night of honor? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses it in the next ayah. He says, لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ خَيْرٌ مِّنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ. The night of honor is better than 1,000 months. To put this in perspective, 1,000 months divided by 12 is 83 years. About 83 years. So when you pray on the Laylatul Qadr night, it is as if you were praying or doing that deed that you're doing for 83 years. There is this argument with the Prophet ﷺ that the Sahabas were asking that previous prophets and their followers, they had more lifetime. Like Prophet Adam, how many years did he live? He almost lived for 1,000 years. And Noah, he lived for 950 years, and so on and so forth, 200 and above, right? So most of the prophets were very old, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts decreasing the time. So the Sahabas were scared and they were asking, what happens if we don't have enough deeds by the time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us, and then it'll make us look small on the day of judgment. The Prophet ﷺ said that Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alfi shahr, that the night of honor is better than 1,000 months. The night of honor is better than 1,000 months. So if a person only lived for 20 years and they prayed the proper way in Laylatul Qadr, it would almost be like they were praying for 83 years. So 20 plus 83. And plus, it's not even 20 years, because half the time he's either going to work, he's either going to sleep, using the restroom, eating, etc. So he barely has time to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'll make it almost about like half a day, or a day at least. So this is why we should always try to get the right day for Laylatul Qadr. So pray all the days. So the second to last ayah, تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر. The angels and the spirits descend therein by their Lord, leaves every affair. So during this time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lets the angels and the spirits leave every affair and then come down. I want to mention one point over here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about time. This time in this surah, he's talking about Laylatul Qadr. Can you tell me one surah that mentions anything about time? The only thing that's coming to my mind right now is Surah Jum'ah, which he literally talks about for the last 3 ayats, and the rest of it is about something else. So this is just showing you how important it is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not dedicating one ayah to this night. He's not dedicating one ayah. He dedicated a whole surah out of the 114 surahs that he made, that he created, that he wrote, that he spoke. So out of the 114 surahs, one of them is Surah Qadr. And then to top it off, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then does it in Surah Dukhan. He does it in its beginning ayahs, the first passage. And it wasn't even in the middle. So this is just showing you how important it is. I'm going to read the beginning part of Surah Dukhan. Hamim wal kitabil mubin. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة مباركة إنا كنا منذرين فيها يفرق كل أمر حكيم. The third ayah and the fourth ayah that I just read, it means, indeed we have sent it down during the blessed night. Indeed we were to warn mankind about this. On that night is made distinct every precise matter. So if that doesn't suit you, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dedicated a whole surah and the first passage of another surah, this is the evidence on how important the night of decree is. The last ayah now. Salamun hiya hatta matla'il fajr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says salam, peace. You should spread peace during Ramadan. It is till the rising of the dawn. So I heard some scholars saying that the nighttime in Islamic words is after Maghrib and then before the rising of the dawn. So this is the nighttime. This is nighttime for the Islamic point of view. So Laylatul Qadr will begin right after Maghrib Salah. Okay, so it's just this amount of time out of the whole 24 hours of the day. It's just this much time. And then to top it off, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does it in the nighttime where it makes you put more energy because you need to have a lot of energy to pray your salahs and sunnahs and taraweeh. So I just want to make one virtue about reading the surah. So there is a virtue on studying the surah from Imam Baqir. He said, "Who recites the surah? He who recites the surah, Surah Qadr, loudly and openly, like a person who fights in a holy war on the path of Allah, and he who recites it hiddenly, like a person who swims in his own blood for the sake of Allah." So this is just showing how important the surah is and just reading it and obeying the verses. So I just want to read the surah one more time, and then my brother Abdullah will launch the polls for you guys to do. Okay. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. So Abdullah can read it, and then you guys can start answering the questions within the polls. Abdullah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر.
Jazakallahu khairan. So I'm just going over the questions. For number 5, you have to pick like a certain number of answer choices. That's why it's multiple choice. So you have to check mark how many boxes are correct. In the meanwhile, we will wait for about 2 minutes to 3 minutes for everyone to answer the poll, and then we will go on, inshallah. Okay, so inshallah, I think me and Abdullah have given enough time. So we will start with the questions, inshallah. Just for people who are in different platforms like YouTube, Facebook, etc. I'll read the question out loud, give 5 seconds, and just pick an answer choice and write in the comment box. Again, I'll say the question, and then there's going to be multiple choice answers. Pick one, and then put that in the comment box. Okay, so I'll leave the poll open when I'm saying it, so you guys can answer along too. Okay, question number 1. What does Surah Qadr mean? Fate, divine, intricate, a clear message from God, a clear message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'll wait a few seconds for people who are on a different platform. Okay, so everyone has answered fate, divine, and clear message from God. So I will go eliminate the wrong answer choices. I did not say anything about clear message from God. I did not say anything about a clear message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Qadr does not mean a clear message from God. So now we're left with divine and fate. So I want to mention this, but this is going to be like English grammar stuff. So divine just describes fate. So whoever answered fate is correct. Divine is just describing it. Divine can be anything. So the answer is fate. Good job for everyone who has answered this correctly. Number two, Surah Qadr talks about the miracles of the earth. Surah Qadr talks about the miracles of the earth. True or false? So it's a true or false question. Okay, so everyone surprisingly has answered false and true. So Surah Qadr talks about the miracles of the earth. The miracle mentioned in this surah is just about the context. When I was saying about like the last ayah of Surah Alaq is similar to the how it's connecting towards the first ayats of Surah Qadr. So it is not true. So everyone who has answered false is correct. Good job. Because I did not say anything about the miracles of the earth. I didn't mention about the core or the mantle or the upper seas or whatever there is. So, okay, so good job for everyone who has answered false. False is the correct answer. Number three, is there any specific sign to which day it is? To the Laylatul Qadr day. So, it will be a nice breeze going everywhere, odd nights in Ramadan, no specific weather. The rain will suddenly stop and sunshine will appear someday in Sha'ban. So I'll wait a few seconds for everyone to answer. Okay, so alhamdulillah, everyone has got this right. It is the odd nights in Ramadan. I have mentioned because I didn't mention anything about weather and or Sha'ban. So if you answered no specific weather, that also would have been right. But both of these are correct. Odd nights in Ramadan and no specific weather. And some scholars he have even mentioned that there will be like this peace feeling in you, but these are like not authentic. But scholars have said this. So, but this is not authentic again. Question number four, is Laylatul Qadr on the same day as usual? No, yes, maybe so. Okay, so I'll give a few seconds. Okay, so everyone has answered, or actually one person has answered yes, and 6 people have answered no. So the correct answer is no. I said that Laylatul Qadr is like a moving target. And I gave the example about if there was gold in your backyard, you wouldn't search one pile of dirt in one point of that thing. You would search the whole backyard. You would flip it upside down just to find it. So with Laylatul Qadr, you have to take all your chances, take all the possible dates, and then do your best in these ones. So odd night, odd night, odd night. Good, 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 good. Okay, so the answer is no. Good job for everyone answering that. Question number 5. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send on that night? Sorry. So this is a multiple choice. So you have to pick the right answers. The whole Quran, part of the Quran, moved it to the lowest heaven, or nothing. So what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send on that night? So I wanted to make this as a trick question. I don't know if everyone has got this right, but those who answered all 3 of these, the whole Quran, part of the Quran, and moved it to the lowest heaven is right. So whoever answered all 3 of those have got it right. If you only answered like whole Quran and that's it, and then you submitted it, and that is wrong, it's also because there are many, 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 many narrations on what day or what has been happening and why is it special. So, but we do know that it is a day in Ramadan or a night in Ramadan, and it has to do something with the Quran, and it's very important and crucial to read it during these. So I'm going to read the answers again. Qadr means fate. Surah Qadr talks about the miracles of the earth. True or false? It is false. Is there any specific sign to which day it is? Is the odd nights in Ramadan or no specific weather? Is Laylatul Qadr on the same day as usual? No, it's a moving target. Number 5, what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send on that night? The whole Quran, part of the Quran, and moved it to the lowest 7. Thank you everyone who has answered this poll. I hope this Surah Qadr tafsir was good and everyone has benefited from this. So jazakallahu khairan for everyone who has done this. And when you do these kind of questions, it'll just increase your knowledge. It'll just increase your knowledge, and it is for your benefit when you listen to these type of lectures and doing these type of questions. So this is why me and Abdullah have decided to put in the poll questions. So jazakallahu khairan for everyone who has answered these poll questions, and please join next week for Surah Alaq. And Abdullah will be doing Surah Alaq, and I'll be doing a short dua. Abdullah, can you please do the concluding dua?
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك ونتوب إليه أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Jazakallah Abdullah for the concluding dua. Please remember next week, same time, 5:30, Surah Alaq, and Abdullah will be doing the lecture and I'll be doing a short dua, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Allahu, Allahu, Allahu.